Now at 9, the city of Carthage will let voters decide whether to add a tax to recreational marijuana sales in the city. Plus, we'll learn about a Grove, Oklahoma high school football player who is the Gatorade Player of the Year and so much more. And
the White House says it cannot comment on the investigation into classified documents since a special counsel has taken over. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with the latest on the president's case coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Carthage, Missouri voters will decide whether the city adds a local tax on its recreational marijuana sales. KOAM's Carrie Worthen talks with the city of Carthage and their administrators and has more on this story.
I think it's a good thing. I think 3% is not too high, to scare people off. I know some people are upset about it, but, you can't please everybody.
Carthage voters will decide on April 4th whether the city can charge an additional 3% sales tax on recreational marijuana in the city. Adam Murphy is the director of retail at Blue Sage Cannabis Deli in Carthage, Missouri. Blue Sage is the only dispensary in Carthage at this time.
I want our medical patients in Carthage to know that we're going to take care of them. I know there's some buzz around that, medical patients are going to get shorted because the adult use customers are going to come in and take all the product, but we're not going to let that happen here.
Carthage City Administrator Greg Dagnan says some cities could collect $100,000 to $150,000 in additional sales tax revenue.
These businesses will pop up. We only have one in town right now, but we expect that we're going to have a lot more. So then you'll have those jobs, and then you'll have, again, whatever may come from that as far as the city's response to all that additional business.
I think it's a reasonable number. I do. I think it's the right number. It's kind of mid-ground there. So yeah, we'll definitely do whatever the city tells us to do. So that's the important part. So
in Carthage, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
The state of Missouri will collect a 6% sales tax on recreational marijuana sales. That's on top of the sales tax already put in place by the state and localities. A new bill in the Missouri State House would get rid of an abortion ban that went into effect last June. The law made abortions illegal. A new bill was filed by House Minority Leader Crystal Quaddy of Springfield. Quaddy says she filed it because she wants women's reproductive health to still be conservation. Republican Representative Bishop Davidson says it's a conversation that has been had for years, and he'd be surprised if the bill makes it to the House floor for debate.
Because let's be clear, this legislation is not about when human life begins. It is about whether or not human life ought to be defended. And so it would get a lot of discussion. Do I think it will get a lot of discussion? I'm not sure this ever even makes it onto the floor.
I don't anticipate that bill to get much attention, if anything at all. It was merely just hey, this is still happening. We shouldn't forget about it. And everybody needs to, keep paying attention and having this discussion.
9 bills have been filed in the Missouri legislature tied to abortion. Some have to do with repealing the current law. Others have to deal with public funds. Missouri Governor Mike Parson this afternoon delivered his 2023 State of the State address to the Missouri General Assembly. He says the state is committed to putting quality internet service in every home, school, business, and farm, and Missouri is dedicating $250 million toward that effort. Parson says the state has already expanded broadband to nearly 70,000 underserved homes and businesses across the state. All right, and now we move to weather, and our chief meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us.
Yeah, we had showers, we had thunderstorms during the morning hours, some pretty good amounts of rain, which we can always use to kind of continue to put dents into that drought that we slid in last summer. 58 for our high, normal high is 45 for this time of the year, and you can see our rain stats, almost an inch at the airport in Joplin. 1.25 inches is where we sit for the month and the year, of course. 42 Nevada, 52 in Neosho, Miami at 49, Oswego 48, 50 in Parsons. We're really going to cool down tonight. You can see the winds are switching out of the west as a cold front is going to sink on through behind all this rain that we had earlier today. And what that's going to do for us is really pick up the winds. Also, this little back edge of snow is going to clip our northern counties late tonight into tomorrow morning. So we could get a few light little snow showers. We'll drop back right around 31. We do have rain and snow chances returning for the weekend. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
A Grove High School football player was named the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Oklahoma, and KOAM's Amber Jenkins shares his inspiring story.
I told y'all I was coming! I told y'all!
Emmanuel Crawford is one of Grove's brightest players during Friday Night Lights. From coaches to the student body, everybody recognizes Emmanuel's talent.
Emmanuel is an outstanding football player, and that's how most people have gotten to know him, but he's a better human being. And remember, he's a really, really good football player.
Emmanuel was the only one surprised when Gatorade named him the Player of the Year for the state of Oklahoma.
It was a surreal moment, you know, with all the other good players in Oklahoma, you know, kids who were 5 stars, 4 stars. It was crazy to me. I found out in the weight room and I was just like, sat there like, there's no way this is happening.
Family, hard work, and faith are elements Emmanuel dedicates his success to. However, life hasn't always been easy. Born in Ghana and sold into child slavery, Emmanuel values how football taught him to not let a bad start affect the overall game.
It really helps you with the, you know, battles you go through in life, because, you know, football, you could do something really bad one play and then the next play you go score a touchdown. You know, it changes your mood completely.
Football isn't the only thing Emmanuel is known for. He was crowned Homecoming King, DJ'd the Homecoming Dance, yet was still humble enough to help clean up afterwards.
So the kid who's the Homecoming King is DJing the dance, scoring 5 touchdowns, and is taking out the trash from the dance. I mean, he's just a humble, hardworking young man.
Reporting in Grove, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Crawford has accepted a walk-on role at the University of Arkansas this summer. Newly elected Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson visited KCU Joplin today. Burleson, who represents Missouri's 7th Congressional District, toured the facility and spoke to the College of Dental Medicine, which is scheduled to open in June. Among the topics he discussed were the debt ceiling.
I'm new, but I didn't go to Washington to raise the debt ceiling, right? I think that we're passing on to our children a debt that is unsustainable, and at some point we have to cut the credit card in half. So that's why I think that we need to figure out ways to control the spending, not continue to raise the debt limit.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers last week the nation will reach the debt limit tomorrow. The White House is remaining mum about what they know about an investigation into classified documents found at various locations connected to President Biden. Lawmakers have even more questions as a new report shows the Justice Department decided to stay out of the search for more documents. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
I am going to refer you to the White House counsel.
President Biden's team continues to pass on questions over his handling of classified information. Now, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer wants visitor logs and foreign donation records for the Penn Biden Center in D.C. That's where the first batch of documents were found in an office once used by President Biden.
I think this is where you're going to see a very aggressive Republican House coming after them to hold them accountable, because everyday Americans, we're sick and tired of this double set of standards.
The White House says while searching his home for classified documents, his personal lawyers would set aside any they found and alert the Justice Department. The lawmakers want to know why lawyers without security clearances were even involved. According to the Wall Street Journal, for the initial searches at his homes, the Justice Department decided not to have agents present because they were worried it could later complicate the investigation and because the Biden team was cooperating.
Well, certainly it's an embarrassment. Yeah. Is it a big one? Is it lasting? I don't believe so.
According to a new Quinnipiac poll, almost 2/3 of Americans say President Biden acted inappropriately handling the documents. 46% say he should not face criminal charges. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Alva Parker Russell served in the U.S. Army from 1918 to 1919. The Airport Drive, Missouri native was stationed at Camp Dodge in Iowa as a part of Company G in the 88th Infantry 19th Division. We salute Alva Parker Russell, tonight's four-state hero. Coming up, taking a hard look at the government's books.
Thursday is the day the U.S. hits its debt ceiling. Now the federal government is pondering some creative accounting. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
Tomorrow, today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen expects the U.S. to hit its debt limit. Like a family moving money between bank accounts before payday, she has some maneuvering she can do, but only for so long. And the onus is now on Congress to come up with a way to hike the limit before the nation's debt goes into default. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
The U.S. is set to hit its debt limit on Thursday, a number so high it's hard to fathom, $31.4 trillion.
That's a lot of zeros. I think anything over $1 billion, I can't process.
The right-leaning Heritage Foundation came up with this chart that says if a median income family spent the way the government does, they'd spend all their money and have to put more than $46,000 on a credit card, even though they were already $474,000 in debt.
If I have to control my budget, then yes, I think Congress should as well.
So how did the federal government run up its credit cards?
They wanted to have a spending party, and it wasn't just Democrats in the Senate. Those bills passed with a lot of Republican support.
Like a family in financial trouble might try, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says she can take extraordinary measures, like selling off investments or suspending reinvestments in government retirement funds. But that would only put off the crisis until June.
How many times have we seen this? They take it right to the 11th hour and then they come to a deal. They know they've got to raise the debt, so they've spent the money.
A less likely option is making painful budget cuts to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid.
We're not getting rid of anything, and you can't scare the bejesus out of people saying we're going to get rid of Social Security.
This is not a new problem. The U.S. got so close to defaulting on its debt in 2011, the government lost its perfect S&P credit rating. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and a little later, how wild weather is continuing to batter the western U.S.
After weeks of wind and rain, more wild weather across the west. I'm Max Gordon in Denver, Colorado. I'll have the latest coming up.
Well, of course, we got showers. We got thunderstorms during the morning hours. Some pretty good amounts of rain, which is what we need. And it was pretty quiet once we got into the afternoon. We had plenty of sunshine. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, our temperatures haven't been bad, really nice all week. They are going to start to drop throughout the overnight hours, upper 40s to lower 50s, but the winds are really going to start to increase. They haven't been bad today, but look in our western counties how they're starting to increase now. Westerly winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour, and that's going to be the case, increasing even more as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Let's go outside. 7th and range line sitting at 49. Southerly winds at about 10. Humidity at 71%. Through the overnight hours, clouds increase again. We could get a few snow flurries late tonight, early morning. Overnight low right around 31 degrees, but we're quiet now. Behind all the showers and thunderstorms, had heavy amounts of rain across the region through the morning hours. Pretty much clear skies, but again, those clouds are going to start to increase. You can see where the heaviest rain was right along the I-44 corridor, a stripe of 3/4 of an inch to about an inch of rain. But now this storm system, the backside, the upper level low is going to track across Kansas City late tonight into tomorrow morning. So some of those snow flurries are going to try to clip our northern counties. Most of us, just cloudy skies, maybe a random flurry. But as we get into the morning, you can see a little band of light snow. Fort Scott, Nevada, El Dorado Springs, Stockton. You could get a quick burst of light snow. Everybody else, just some flurries. And then we break out. We'll start to see sunshine during the afternoon. Temperature is quite a bit cooler. Highs only into lower 40s. Tomorrow night, pretty much clear skies, cold, upper 20s. On Friday, not a bad day, partly sunny skies. We go into the upper 40s during the afternoon. Friday night, clouds increase. Our next storm system getting organized, so we'll have cloudy skies by the time we head into Saturday morning. All right, look at the winds increasing tonight. Wind gusts 30, upwards to 35 by the morning. It stays windy all day, but it slowly decreases as we go through the day. Here's your day plan at 32 to start. A few random flurries. 38 by noon, high 44, so almost 20 degrees cooler than what we have seen over the past couple days. Let's jump into the weekend. Here comes our storm system, mainly Saturday afternoon. We'll start to get some light showers developing. We'll have to watch Arrowhead. Second half of the game could get a little bit of snow. Our northern counties picking up snow, But as the colder air filters in Saturday night into Sunday, all of us should switch over to a little bit of snow. Could get some accumulations. We'll wait a day or two to see what that looks like as that storm system gets a little bit closer. All right, 44 tomorrow, 47 on Friday, 47 Saturday, afternoon showers, morning snow on Sunday. We have a second system moving in late Monday into Tuesday. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the second half hour.
So we'll enjoy these next couple days.
Yeah.
Hunker down a little bit.
But
as for Sunday, fingers crossed that the Chiefs don't get too much snow. But when you've got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, I think you'll be all right.
He's played pretty well in the snow in the past, so we'll see.
All right. Thank you, Doug. California is getting a brief break from all the rain that they've gotten that soaked the state. But there are still some lingering dangers left behind. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has that story.
Weeks of wild weather have left a mark on California. Non-stop flooding and storms taking a toll on roadways and homes across the Golden State.
Infrastructure can't handle the amount of water falling on us right now.
Significant damage in 2/3 of California's counties. Thousands of homes and businesses are likely to be red tagged and deemed uninhabitable because of all the floodwater and mud that deteriorated the buildings.
We need help. We don't have homes to live in anymore.
No flood insurance. I tried to get flood insurance several years ago and they said, oh, you're not in a flood zone. You don't need it. And here we are.
While the rains have let up for now, the danger remains. Mudslides are a persistent threat. More than 500 reported across the state just since New Year's Day. One even stopping a train in its tracks near San Francisco.
I've been on the train since 7-11 this morning, so yeah, 5 hours.
President Biden is planning to travel to California on Thursday to meet with emergency officials and first responders and to assess what the federal government can do to help. In Arizona, record snowfall over 2 days blanketing parts of Flagstaff and the high country, more than 2 feet of it covering the roads and causing headaches for drivers.
A lot of travelers coming from Phoenix getting stuck. Cars totaled.
The snow is also being blamed for some car crashes and flight delays here in Colorado, with even more snow falling today. In Denver, Colorado, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
Coming up, what a new study shows about marijuana use among elderly Americans. Marijuana use amongst the elderly has soared in certain parts of the country, and Fox's Jennifer Williams has more.
They think they know from the 60s and 70s. I know how to do marijuana.
The number of senior citizens visiting the emergency room because of marijuana use has soared in the past few years. Dr. Harry Straightner is an addiction expert, and he says boomers may simply be unaware of just how potent pot is in 2023.
Particularly since the presence of gummies, edibles, because you don't know how long it's going to take for an edible to affect you.
According to the Department of Health and Human Services, marijuana currently cultivated and sold contains 3 times more THC compared to levels 25 years ago. Straightner adds individuals over the age of 60 are also more likely to be on medication for high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol.
We haven't done enough research to know what the synergistic, the combined effects of marijuana are with THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, with other medications.
A new study by the University of California, San Diego revealed cannabis-related ER visits have skyrocketed a whopping 1,800% among Californians over the age of 65 and up from 2005 to 2019. Dr. Nicholas Hernandez has noticed the surge.
A lot of baby boomers are ending up in the hospital with cyclical vomiting syndrome. They're just nauseous, vomiting. They go into renal failure because they become dehydrated. We have to give them fluids.
It could be considered an overdose. You know, with marijuana theoretically is very helpful to cancer patients.
Both experts say other side effects can include dizziness, balance issues, disorientation, extreme paranoia, anxiety, and even early signs of dementia.
It's basically mostly metabolized by the liver, some excreted by the kidneys, but the liver can last up to 72 hours before it completely leaves your system. So an elder person that may have a little bit more slower process, it could be 6 days for them as opposed to 3 days.
Up next, we'll learn how you can make some serious cash by being a flight attendant for Netflix. Up to $385,000. That's how much Netflix could would be willing to pay a new flight attendant to work on one of its private jets. The video streaming company says the right candidate should be flexible and willing to take on extra responsibilities, like maintaining the stockroom, working both domestic and international flights, weekends, holidays, and extended travel periods. They should also be able to do the job with discretion and little direction. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, we'll look at efforts at Missouri Southern to reopen the Taylor Performing Arts Center. Plus,
several high-ranking Ukrainian officials killed in a helicopter crash near the capital of Kyiv. I'm Greg Falk in London. That's my story. Coming up.
Missouri Southern's TV station is getting a new facelift thanks to a new state grant. The communication department says the nonprofit TV station KGCS received an up to $1.5 million matching grant from the state to upgrade studio spaces and labs. The grant will go towards building a full state-of-the-art green screen studio with new furnishings and a separate LED wall to provide virtual reality production opportunities. The station provides hands-on training opportunities for students in the department. After a 3-year hiatus due to renovations, Missouri Southern State University will host the first event in Taylor Performing Arts Center next week. And KOAM Shagun Bondali was at the Performing Arts Center and has more.
The Taylor Performing Arts Center in Missouri Southern State University was constructed in 1975, and for 50 years it served as the largest event space in the region. But as with time, things start to wear out.
So certainly after 50 plus years, there were some structural issues that we were able to address, but mainly aesthetic reasons. You see new seats, new carpeting and tile. There'll be new curtains on the way. So it was a chance to refresh a facility that means a great deal to the university and to the community.
Faculty members had a first look.
It was great to have the faculty and staff in here today. Many of them sat in the seats and commented on how comfortable they were. Most of those longtime faculty and staff would have been in the old seats, which were not as comfortable. So we feel like all of the changes really helped to enhance an already great facility.
I'm standing in the entrance of the newly renovated Taylor Theater, where if you can see behind me, there are new chairs and new carpets. I spoke to a professor of music who tells me that in previous years, the departments and students had to go out to rent and borrow buildings for their performances, and he is excited that that wouldn't be the case anymore.
For example, when we did Mamma Mia, we had to rent out Joplin High School, and that was an enormous amount of set to move into that space because we only had just a short time, and I can remember that being quite stressful.
The performance arts students are happy to see the changes.
I think it gives us, a place to be on our own campus that is a nice place to perform, and will make it easier for us. But I certainly think that the students are very excited about it.
Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Bondali, KOAM News.
In 2021, Missouri lawmakers assigned $2.5 million to the university to pay for the repairs. The Carthage School Board is putting a bond issue to voters on the April ballot. The district is asking for $80 million by extending the current levies for 2 years to 2040. That money will go towards funding a performing arts center and baseball field.
This does not affect our tax rate, what we pay right now. This is not affected at all. This extends the bonds in about 17 years. That's all this deals with. You're planning for the future. If you want to pay taxes 17, 18 years from now, that's what this is about.
Voters rejected the bond back in August during the state primaries. A Carthage teacher received a big honor today. Christina Landberg is one of 12 educators to join Scholastic's inaugural 2022 to 23 Teacher Fellow cohort. She teaches 4th grade at the Carthage Intermediate Center. The cohort of the educators get the chance to collaborate with Scholastic Education's research product, research, and publishing teams.
So I specifically will be reviewing those book proposals for Scholastic and giving my opinion on if I think they would be beneficial to other classroom teachers. And then we also have done a few book covers, which is kind of fun to do.
The program will run until July. Landberg will complete a project that will be showcased at a summit in Scholastic's New York City headquarters at the end of the program. Bissell is recalling more than 60,000 of its cordless multi-service wet-dry vacuums due to a fire hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the battery pack can overheat and smoke, with 5 reports of fire that resulted in 3 instances of minor property damage and 1 burn injury. China's population has fallen for the first time in 60 years, with the national birth rate hitting a record low 6.77 births per 1,000 people. The country's population dropped by about 850,000 last year, a decline that came sooner than projected. We're learning more about the helicopter crash that killed Ukraine's interior minister, the most senior official to die since the war started nearly 1 year ago. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palko has more from London.
He's the highest-ranking Ukrainian official to die since the war started. Interior Minister Denis Monastrisky among 15 people killed when a helicopter crashed into a kindergarten. Monastrisky was in charge of the National Guard, Border Guard, and state police, which have all seen heavy fighting against Russian forces. A Pentagon official tells Fox he was considered one of Ukraine's best leaders. It's still not clear what caused the crash. Officials on the scene are investigating, but they say the top priority this morning was making sure the survivors were safe.
Emotions are running high, but we immediately evacuated the children. They were evacuated to another building, and they're with their relatives.
The crash came just hours after a defiant speech from Vladimir Putin, the Russian president offering a new justification for the war, claiming he's simply trying to protect Russians living in Ukraine.
He's not going to be able to take control of Ukraine anytime soon. It's more information war that Putin is propagandizing here.
But that's not stopping Western allies from increasing their aid. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, is in Brussels meeting with NATO allies today, while Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is traveling to Germany for another meeting of the Ukraine Working Group.
The supplies of Western tanks must outpace another invasion of Russian tanks.
5 Interior Ministry officials and a national police official were also killed in the helicopter crash. In London, Greg Palkan, Fox News.
A bit later, how hospitals across the country are turning to robots to help fill nursing shortages.
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty nice evening after the showers and thunderstorms. Much needed rain that we got through the morning hours. Pretty decent amounts. Most of us 1/2 inch to 1 inch across the region. Looks good. Indigo sky. Tower cam, live tower cam. Now the winds are going to start to pick up and our temperatures are going to start to drop. It's 48 in Carthage, 52 in Veneta. Neodesha is sitting at 49, but the winds will really kind of slowly increase over the next several hours. You can see them starting to picking up a little bit in our western counties. So we are going to get winds gusting up there a little bit later on tonight. 7th and range line sitting at 49, southerly winds at about 10, humidity 71%. Through the night, some clouds. May get a few flurries in here late tonight into tomorrow morning, but really not a big deal. It's just going to really cool off behind this storm system. You can see nothing's going on right now across the 4-state area. Heaviest stripe of rain right along the I-44 corridor where you see this green, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1.25 inches fell across the region. But the backside of this system is going to kind of rotate through Kansas City and just clip our northern counties later on tonight. That could give us a few random flurries, maybe a couple snow showers in our northern counties. We're going to go to about 5 or 6 a.m. You can see a few light snow showers, Fort Scott, Nevada, El Dorado, Springs, Stockton. Besides that, most of us look pretty good. Sunshine returns tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be windy and quite a bit cooler. High temps only into the mid-40s. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, cold, upper 20s across the board. As we go into Friday, partly sunny skies, a little bit better, 43 in Nevada, 48 in Miami, Bentonville up to about 50 degrees. Clouds increase Friday night into Saturday ahead of our next storm system, which we're going to look at here just shortly. All right, look at the winds increasing later on tonight. Winds gusting 30 upwards to 35. It stays windy all day, but they kind of back off a bit as we get into the afternoon hours. So here's your day planner, 32 to start, 38 by noon. High temp right around 44. We'll have plenty of sunshine late in the day. Here comes our next storm system late Saturday. Rain starts to increase. You can see our northern counties snow So we're going to have to watch that because that rain-snow line is going to go right through the region. As we get into Saturday evening, that rain-snow line kind of advances a little bit farther south into Sunday morning. Not a big system, and then it exits the region. But we could get some light accumulations as that passes through. Then right behind it, let's go to Monday evening. Another band, which looks like mainly snow. This one has a little better shot to give us some higher accumulation mounts. So a lot to watch over the next few days. 44 tomorrow, 47 Friday. The system Saturday and Sunday, the system late Monday into Tuesday, and gradually turning colder. I think Arctic air is right around the corner, about 10 to 14 days. So it's going to feel like winter again once we get it late this month.
Yeah, the fourth state, it's like constantly playing with us. Around the holidays, we had the really cold temps and they got super warm. And now we're starting to dive back into those cold temps again.
I know it.
Hopefully we can get some consistency, but who knows?
Yeah, I'd like so.
All right, thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Still ahead, a big win for the electric vehicle industry.
Electric vehicles are charging ahead. I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the battery-powered trucks and cars sparking attention coming up.
Electric vehicles are gaining new traction and charging ahead into the future. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty takes a look at their growing success in the consumer market and which ones are earning top awards.
Big gains for electric vehicles and good news for climate activists. For the first time in history, EVs won 2 of 3 categories at the 2023 North American Car, Truck, and Utility Vehicle of the Year Awards.
The winner of the Truck of the Year,
Ford's F-150 Lightning pickup took the #1 spot in the truck category, with Kia's EV6 named top SUV.
A tremendous honor.
According to data from Cox Automotive, EV sales are at record highs, rising by 70% in the first 9 months of 2022. Electric vehicle shares of new automotive sales also jumped to nearly 6% last year alone. Meanwhile, Chevrolet is also trying to swoop in on EV sales. The company unveiling its new 2024 Corvette E-Ray, which can go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
It's a pretty elegant solution that a few automakers have taken, and this is going to propel the Corvette to a new set of markets.
But vehicles aren't the only things getting greener. Goodyear is introducing new demonstration tires, not yet for sale, but that are made from 90% sustainable materials.
We're moving from petrochemicals to things like using recycled plastic bottles to use in polyester tire cords. We're using recycled steel in our steel wire tire cords as well, made through electric arc furnaces, which are much lower CO2 emissions.
Other natural ingredients in the tires include rice husk and pine tree resin. Goodyear is aiming to have a 100% sustainably made tire available by 2030. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
And we'll be back with more after this. Years of the COVID-19 pandemic has left healthcare workers burned out and hospitals facing ongoing staffing shortages. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a look at how one medical center is using robotic nursing assistants to overcome its challenges.
Robots may not completely solve the nation's ongoing nursing shortage, but staff at Elmhurst Memorial Hospital outside of Chicago say their 2 robot assistants have been lifesavers.
They are working 24/7 with only a short period of time to charge in between. We would need at least 6 people to do that amount of work.
The bots don't take care of patients.
I have a delivery.
Instead, both devices, named Moxie, transport medicine and other supplies throughout the extensive facility.
It leaves a lot more time for us to be able to focus on the patient.
The 2 robots make roughly 1,800 deliveries each month, racking up close to 1,000 miles worth of traveling around the hallways. Over the course of 6 months, hospital officials say the robots saved staff members more than 3,100 hours. Diligent Robotics, the company behind the bots, says using technology isn't about replacing human workers. Instead, it's about making sure that
the people that you do have are focused on what they need to be focused on.
The rise of robot assistants comes as nurses across the country say they can't properly take care of their patients because there's simply too many and too little staff.
It's all about the patient care and patient safety at the end of the day. We don't need it to be compromised every single shift.
Nurses at 2 New York City hospitals recently ended a 3-day strike to address staffing shortages and working conditions. Ted Linder, Fox News.
Coming up, we'll learn how the American Humane Society is honoring the legacy of the late Hollywood legend, Betty White. Betty White's legacy is being honored by the American Humane Society with another social media campaign to raise money to support animal causes. And here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
American Humane is celebrating Betty White's 101st birthday with the second Betty White Challenge. The social media campaign raised millions last January 17th.
We were encouraged to give up that cup of coffee that day or lunch and make those donations to our favorite animal causes, whether it be your local shelter or rescue group, whether it be American Humane or your favorite zoo and aquarium. All of these small donations went in to raise millions of dollars from Betty's fans.
There's also a new effort to honor the late acting legend and animal rights advocate.
American Humane is asking all of her fans, the animal lovers across our country, to join forces with us and sign a petition. The petition is available on AmericanHumane.org, and we're going to take it to Congress. We're going to ask Congress to declare January 17th as National Betty White Day.
White worked with the organization for more than 70 years as volunteer and board member. She was involved with many programs and campaigns, including Be Kind to Animals Week and the Hero Dog Awards.
It's our annual celebration of working dogs in our lives. All the human celebrities there to celebrate the dogs. They all wanted to be with Betty. What Betty wanted to be with were the working dogs, the hero dogs. She'd sit in a chair like this and so many wagging tails and paws would come up to her. She'd get lots of kisses on the cheek, and she wanted them all from those amazing hero dogs. That just tells you a lot about her spirit, her essence. She was the real, authentic animal lover, the genuine voice for animals. That was my dear friend, Betty White.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, make sure to mark National Betty White Day on your calendars moving forward. And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of a baby hippo at the Cincinnati Zoo playing with a ball. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.